Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I, too, want to stand up for the majority of women in the state of West Virginia and the overwhelming majority of women across this country who think bills like this go too far. Go too far. Like our education system, all they want is for legislators to stop reaching their hands into their examining rooms and dictating what they can and can't do with their doctor. Each and every year, we get further and further away from allowing women to have safe, affordable, and rare reproductive health care. Now we've brought the doctors into it, and we're dictating to doctors how they are to practice medicine without knowing what the circumstances are of that pregnancy. You know, like the gentleman from the 5th, I hate these bills. I hate that we have to come here each and every year and have someone tell women what kind of health care they are allowed to have, what kind of health care they're not allowed to have. Because it is political. Whether you like it or not, 45 years ago, or longer, the United States Supreme Court ruled that a woman has the right to medical privacy. It was called Roe v. Wade. And so we have become incubators at the state level, incubators, to test out how we can become intolerant, uncompassionate, so that we can throw up more cases, say, look, the West Virginia state legislature said that this is okay. So let's go ahead and rehear Roe v. Wade. Well, the court, the high court, is getting ready to do that. And so I stand in agreement with the gentleman from the 5th. What is the rush? Why can't we leave this alone for 1 year? You know, like all of you, I'm a Christian too. And because of my Christian beliefs, I think that we ought to be showing compassion. And I also am intelligent enough to know that we can't prevent every child or every fetus from an untimely death. We can't prevent rape or incest that compromises women beyond belief and then re-victimizes all of those women as we tell them, that's a horrible thing that happened to you, but no, you're not allowed to terminate that pregnancy. That's barbaric. You know, a couple of years ago, I was hobbling around here on a cane because I needed a new hip. My doctor said to me, here's the procedure. First we go in and we rip and tear and cut through all of the muscle. and then we dismember your hip. And it was my choice. That's absolutely correct. It is my choice. And I would suggest to you that the United States Supreme Court over 45 years ago gave women the right to make that same choice in matters of reproduction. I think the thing that is so troubling to me about this bill is that it is designed to shock and awe. If you make it sound hideous enough, if you make it sound as gross as possible, then somehow everyone will be cowed into submission to vote for something that jeopardizes the medical practices of many of our OBGYNs. As you've heard from people who are a lot smarter than me, this really criminalizes doctors. You know, I never thought I would see the day, but this really takes the cake. I believe that this particular legislative session will go down in history as being the one session that is most intolerant, that lacks the most compassion on social issues. It is beyond measure what we are about to do to make it even less safe for women in a time when we are trying to avoid abortion by giving them the medical care that they need. I don't expect to win on this one. I have never won on any of these. But what I can tell you is that all of us in here, or all of you who are going to vote for this bill, you are in the minority. Because women want you to leave them alone. Stop picking at this. And they're watching. You know, the key word here is to make it sound sensational. We had a floor speech, or a floor activity down here the other day on something that most of us are very proud of. The bill that would allow people to donate their organs. It was one of the first bills I ever worked on whenever I got here. And I thought, what a great idea. You just put it on your license that you want to be an organ donor. And yet, over the summer, Planned Parenthood, another life-saving organization, was accused of harvesting baby parts. Now, the guy that made those charges is under indictment because all of it was a bunch of garbage. But it just depends on which side of this issue you land. Do you want to go down in history as being known as someone who can't even see the other side of the coin? The other side of the circumstances that may have driven a woman to need a termination. It's not any of your business. And yet you're making it your business. I have rejoiced with each and every one of you who have stood on this floor and talked about how they made a choice to go through with a risky pregnancy, despite what their doctors said. And you know what? That is a wonderful thing. I'm glad that happens. But for those women who don't have the economic means, who have a compromised health condition. You are taking away that right for them to make their own choice. You don't have to agree with it, but they deserve more respect than shaming them and making them feel as though they've done something wrong because they are not equipped to carry that baby to term. And so, when we should be dealing with fixing and funding PEIA and roads, here we are again, Mr. Speaker, becoming the most socially intolerant state legislature in the country.